Single mom struggling to feed her twins discovers an incredible act of kindness from a billionaire. Emily woke before dawn, the early morning light barely peeking through her kitchen window. The world was still sleeping, yet she was already in full swing, brewing coffee and packing lunches for her 11-year-old twins, Lucy and Ethan. Each morning felt like a race against time, a race she often lost. Bills were stacked high on the tiny kitchen table, reminding her of the weight she carried daily. Another month, another struggle. She longed for the comforting thought that tomorrow might be different, yet the reality felt heavy in her chest. As Emily began sorting through the bills, her heart sank deeper with each envelope she opened. Then she spotted an ominous letter from the after-school program. Payment due immediately to secure spots. Those words hit her like a hammer. Lucy and Ethan loved that program. It was their safe haven, the only place they could escape the pressures of their uneven world. The thought of disappointing them curled her stomach into knots. She felt as if she were betraying them, shrouded in a cloak of failure, while the whispers of judgment in the neighborhood nipped at her heels. Would she ever be enough? Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, Emily caught a glimpse of her kids chasing each other in their backyard, laughter ringing like a sweet melody. She had to soldier on, to show them what hard work and resilience looked like. That thought fueled her as she rushed out the door for a long shift at the diner. It was a day like any other, until, during her brief lunch break, everything changed. A tall man with tousled hair and a piercing gaze walked into the diner. It was Jack, the reclusive billionaire everyone whispered about. She poured his coffee, and in that moment, something unexpected sparked between them. She shared a bit about her struggles, her words raw and real, and Jack listened. He understood, a flicker of empathy in his eyes. Their brief interaction was a lifeline, igniting a hope she hadn't felt in years. Later that evening, her phone buzzed. An anonymous notification glimmered on the screen. The twins' fees had been covered in full. Shock sent her heart racing. Who would do such a thing? She felt gratitude swell in her chest, but mixed with it was an uncomfortable thought: did it truly come from kindness? Or was it just charity masked in privilege? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days passed, Emily wrestled with her feelings. Whispers spread through the community, voicing mixed reactions about Jack's generosity. Some called it an authentic act of kindness, others accused him of seeking attention. She wanted to find a way to thank him, to connect, but he remained elusive, a phantom in her mind. And then she learned about Jack's past. His family had faced financial ruin, a story he rarely shared. Her heart ached at the similarities between their struggles. Emily stood at the crossroads of gratitude and pride, questioning whether a bond could form between her ordinary life and his lavish existence. Was it possible that kindness could bridge an unscalable divide? The truth felt tantalizingly close, yet just out of reach, and her journey was filled with uncertainty. What mysteries lay ahead for Emily, Jack, and their worlds? Days turned into weeks, and life carried on as usual, but the act of kindness lingered in Emily's mind. Every time she saw Lucy and Ethan enjoying their after-school program, a wave of gratitude washed over her, coupled with the gnawing question, who was Jack really? He had become an almost mythical figure in her life. One Tuesday morning, the sun spilled into her kitchen, and Emily felt a sense of resolve stir within her. Today, she decided, she would seek out Jack. He was more than just a stranger who helped her. He was a person who had faced adversity too. What did she have to lose by reaching out? At the diner that afternoon, the familiar clinks of dishes and soft murmurs of patrons filled the air, but her mind was elsewhere. She busied herself with the lunch rush, each customer making her more determined to find him. Just as she finished clearing a table, the bell above the door jingled. Turning, her heart leaped. It was Jack. He strode in, casual yet commanding. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, the world around her vanished. She approached him with purpose, her voice steady, though her heart raced. "Jack, can we talk?" He paused, studying her expression. "Of course. I'm just grabbing a quick coffee." As he sat with his drink, Emily decided to lay it all out. "Thank you for what you did for my kids. It was a lifesaver. But I need to know why. Why did you help? What do you expect in return?" Jack leaned back in his chair, his gaze softening. "I saw something in you, Emily. I saw a mother trying to do her best against all odds. You're strong, and I admire that." Her heart swelled, but skepticism twinged at the edges of her gratitude. "But it's not that simple, is it? You have all this wealth. How do you know it's not pity?" A flicker of disappointment crossed his features, quickly replaced by a thoughtful expression. "I understand why you think that. My past taught me that kindness shouldn't come with strings attached. I just want to help. That's all." Emily contemplated his words, remembering her own struggles, the fear of judgment, the relentless grind. Perhaps this was an opportunity for something meaningful not just for her but for Jack, too. "You don't owe me anything, but it would mean a lot if you could share more about your story." He hesitated, his expression contemplative. "I haven't shared much with anyone. But if you're willing to listen, I think it's time." As he began to recount his early life, the devastating losses that shaped him, Emily felt a connection deepening. They navigated through heavy silences and shared laughter. For the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope that maybe they could find common ground. When they parted, a new sense of possibility filled the air. As she watched him walk away, Emily felt her heart beat wildly. There was so much more to discover, not just about Jack, but about herself, her hopes, and the ways they could change each other's lives. What lay ahead felt daunting yet thrilling. Emily was ready to explore the depths of this newfound friendship, ready to unveil secrets that could either bind them together or pull them apart. In that moment, with her heart racing, she couldn't shake the thought, could this connection truly alter the fabric of their lives? Or was it just another fleeting moment in her already turbulent journey? Over the next few days, Emily found herself lost in thought. Every interaction she had, especially with Lucy and Ethan, was tinted by the memory of Jack. The way he spoke, the weight of his words, she felt like they held a promise. She wanted to unravel that promise, see what it meant. One afternoon, as she folded laundry, she recalled the warmth in Jack's eyes when he talked about his past. It drew her in and made her wonder about the layers he kept hidden. Why had he trusted her, even a little? Maybe there was a spark in both of them, an unspoken connection just waiting to be discovered. Lucy and Ethan burst into the room, their laughter breaking her reverie. They were animated, sharing stories from their after-school program. In that moment, the joy in their voices ignited Emily's determination. She wanted to create more opportunities for them, not just cushioned by Jack's generosity but through her own strength. That afternoon, Emily took a leap. With her kids in tow, she decided to visit the community center, where they had the after-school program. She had seen a flash of potential there, a way to turn gratitude into action. The place was buzzing with energy as children painted and played, and Emily felt a spark of community she hadn't experienced in a long time. "Mom! Look at what I made!" Ethan called out, beaming as he showed her his colorful artwork. His enthusiasm made her heart swell. "You're an artist!" she exclaimed, ruffling his hair. As the evening approached, Emily wandered the center, chatting with other parents. They shared stories of struggle, laughter held tightly in their voices, and behind every smile was a shared burden. In those moments, Emily started to understand what Jack saw in her, a determined spirit flickering amidst the chaos. Later that night, as she tucked her kids into bed, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from Jack, simple yet intriguing. "Are you free tomorrow? I'd like to meet again." Emily felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. What would they talk about this time? Would he reveal more about his life? Or would it be her chance to share her own? As she lay in bed contemplating the upcoming meeting, her mind raced with possibilities. Could she share her dreams of starting a community project? Could she invite him into that vision? The thought of exposing her vulnerability made her stomach churn, yet it was also exhilarating. What if Jack wanted to help in a way that aligned with her vision? The notion both thrilled and scared her. Connecting with him could be the turning point she needed to find strength inside her while also learning to lean on someone else. But just as she began to settle into sleep, the little voice inside her whispered fears of inadequacy. What if their paths were too different? What if the weight of his world was too heavy for her to bear? The next day dawned bright and hopeful. Emily dressed carefully, her heart pounding with anticipation. She felt a strange mix of courage and doubt. Standing outside the diner where they agreed to meet, she took a deep breath, letting the sun warm her skin. Today was a chance to dig deeper, to forge a friendship that could lift not just her but others. As she caught sight of Jack approaching, his familiar smile sending butterflies through her stomach, she wondered, could this moment change everything for both of them? Emily watched Jack move toward her, the sunlight casting a golden hue around him. He wore that familiar plaid shirt, looking effortlessly casual yet charming. Her heart raced. Was she ready for whatever he had planned? As he reached her, his smile was bright and inviting. "Hey, Emily," he said, his voice warm. "I'm really glad you came." "Me too," she replied, trying to match his enthusiasm, though her nerves pulsed like a live wire beneath her skin. They settled into a booth, the diner buzzing with the sound of clinking silverware and laughter. Emily toyed with her napkin, trying to steady her thoughts. Jack ordered coffee, and when she glanced up at him, she noticed a flicker of something serious behind his smile. "I've been thinking a lot since our last conversation," he began, leaning forward. "About what you said, inspiration and impact." Emily felt her pulse quicken. Was he going to help her? "You could say that I've been feeling inspired too," she said, mustering a bit more courage. "I want to do something in the community, maybe a project for kids who need support. Since the after-school program is so great, I thought maybe." Jack interrupted, his eyes brightening. "That's exactly what I wanted to discuss. I think it's a fantastic idea. There's so much potential for growth and development. How can I help?" Her breath caught. The idea of Jack actually aiding her caused a flood of hope within. "I have some thoughts about after-school activities, ways to engage kids." But she hesitated, her stomach twisting. "What if it doesn't work? What if I fail?" Jack reached out, placing a comforting hand on hers. "Listen, I've faced my share of failures," he said softly. "But that's how we find our way. You're already on the right path by wanting to create change. Don't be afraid to lean on me. We can do this together." Emily felt a rush of warmth at his words, a new strength infused with his belief in her. "Okay," she whispered, emboldened by his encouragement. "Let us do it together." As they brainstormed ideas for the project, time melted away. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, with each suggestion sparking the other's imagination. Emily could see Jack's genuine interest, and it filled her heart with a mixture of excitement and gratitude. She wanted to share her vision with him, to build something lasting. But just as the momentum built, Jack shifted gears. "There's something I didn't tell you last time. It's important." At his serious tone, Emily felt her heart drop. She leaned in, anticipation and fear intermingling. "What is it?" Jack looked her straight in the eyes, the weight of his words palpable. "I haven't been completely honest with you about my past. And I think you deserve to know before we move forward." Her breath caught in her throat. What wasn't he telling her? Was this the moment everything changed? The soft murmur of the diner faded into silence, and all she could hear was her heartbeat thrumming in her ears. Would his omissions derail their budding connection? Or was this the truth that could actually set them both free? She held her breath, ready to embrace whatever revelation lay ahead, knowing it could lead them down an entirely different path. Jack took a deep breath, his gaze steady but edged with vulnerability. Emily felt the tension in the air wrap around them. This was the moment she'd been bracing for, the one where secrets came spilling out like marbles dropped on the floor. "I come from a different place than you might think," he confessed, his voice quiet but firm. When I was younger, I made choices that got me into trouble. I was involved in things that don't reflect well on who I am now. I landed in some dark spots, and it took a lot to pull myself back to where I am today. Emily's mind raced. What kind of trouble? She wanted to scream, to ask him a million questions. But she restrained herself, focusing on the pained expression that he wore like a second skin. What kind of trouble, Jack? She managed to ask, her voice trembling slightly. I was reckless, he continued, the weight of his admission pressing down on them both. Partying, skipping school, you name it. At one point, I nearly lost everything, my family, my future. But I realized I couldn't keep using my past as an excuse. I had to change. I had to want more for myself. Her heart ached for him. She could see the shadows of those experiences etched in the lines of his face. It was real. And you did. You came back from that, Jack, she said, her voice steadying. That takes strength. He nodded, a flicker of appreciation in his eyes. Thanks for saying that. But I just didn't want to step forward with you without being completely honest. I know we're talking about impacting lives together, and if I'm not open about who I really am, it wouldn't be fair to you or anyone will help. She swallowed hard, feeling the weight of his honesty. The air between them felt different now, charged but also inviting. He had laid himself bare, offering both his fears and his redemption. The truth could tear them apart, or create a foundation of strength, and Emily wasn't sure which it would be. What about your family? She asked gently. Are they supportive of the person you've become? A shadow passed over his features. For the most part, yes. But there are still scars that linger. Some trust was broken, and it's something I work to rebuild daily. That's why this project means so much to me. I want to show what's possible when you have the right support. I get that, she said, a connection growing between them, anchoring her turmoil. It's like when you've been lost, any chance to help others feel less alone becomes critical. Jack leaned back, a content smile creeping in. Exactly. And that's why I admire you, Emily. You're ready to create something beautiful from your own experiences. His praise warmed her, but doubt crept back in. But what if we come across challenges? She asked. What if my past catches up to me, too? He took her hand again, more firmly this time. We'll face those challenges together. You and me. We'll create something meaningful. I promise. The sincerity in his voice wrapped around her like a gentle embrace. But deep down, she felt that tug of uncertainty. Sharing their pasts was one thing, but sharing their futures, was she truly ready for that? As they continued to talk, a plan slowly took shape between them. Activities for kids, workshops, community events, ideas flowed like water, each inspiring the next. But just as she began to believe in their shared vision, another thought gnawed at her. What if this connection led to more? Her heart raced, and she felt a mix of exhilaration and fear. Would they find not just a partnership in this project, but something deeper? As the diner's soft sounds returned, she caught a glimpse of Jack gazing at her, and an unexpected thought crossed her mind. Was this the beginning of something new, or the unfolding of old patterns? The time passed quickly, and soon their coffee cups were empty, but the air remained thick with possibility. Emily knew that whatever revelation Jack had shared, it set the stage for choices ahead, ones that could change everything. Emily, Jack finally said, his voice filled with sincerity. There's something more you need to understand about why I wanted to support you. And as his eyes locked onto hers, Emily realized that their journey was just starting, teetering on the edge of discovery. What was he going to reveal next? Jack hesitated, his expression sharpening as he absorbed the weight of what he was about to say. Emily could feel her breath hitch in her throat, tension coiling around them like a spring. Whatever words would follow carried a gravity that sent her heart racing. This project, he began slowly, isn't just about helping others. It's personal for me in ways I'd never thought was possible. He drew in a deep breath, his fingers dancing across his coffee cup. When I reached my lowest point, I had someone in my corner. A mentor who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. If it weren't for him, I honestly don't know where I'd be today. Her heart fluttered. It was true, mentors could change lives. What happened? She asked softly, leaning in, Jack's voice lowered, heavy with memories. When I was in the thick of my struggles, I worked part-time at a local store. I was a mess, barely scraping by. One day, I got caught up in a gang-related incident, just stupid, reckless behavior. I was arrested. My mentor, he was the only one who stepped in to help me. He fought for me, for the chance to get my life back on track. The room felt charged, like a storm brewing just outside. Emily wanted to reach for him, to pull him closer as he opened this deep wound. She realized that his past wasn't just an echo. It was a force shaping everything he was striving for now. What did he teach you? Jack's eyes were distant for a moment, then focused back on her like a light breaking through darkness. To never define myself by my mistakes. That each day is an opportunity for redemption. That's something I want to pass on. I wanted to support you because I see so much of that past in you too. We're fighting the same battle. Emily felt overwhelmed, her own past surfacing like a tidal wave. But what if I can't live up to that? She whispered, vulnerability seeping into her tone. What if I fail? What if Jack cut her off gently, lifting her hand with both of his? Then we'll figure it out together. It's okay to be scared. The important thing is that we're willing to try. You're not alone in this. His grip sent a warmth pulsing through her, creating a bridge forged from mutual fears and aspirations. Emily's pulse quickened as she started to see their collaboration not just as a project, but as a promise to heal, to grow, and potentially to love. Jack, she breathed, her thoughts racing with the prospect of everything they could build together. There's so much at stake here. He nodded, his gaze unwavering. And that's why it matters. Because it's about more than just us, it's about everyone we can help. Together, we can change lives. The waitress approached with the check, breaking their moment. But the thickness of emotion in the air didn't dissipate. After they paid, Emily felt a lightness in her heart, a glimmer of hope. They stepped outside, and the evening air was crisp, the sun sliding down the horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. Do you want to grab dinner tomorrow? We can brainstorm over some food, he suggested, his smile warm and inviting. Yes, I'd love that, she replied, her heart fluttering at the thought of spending more time with him, delving deeper into not just the project, but their lives. As they walked toward their cars, a thought struck Emily, almost startling in its clarity. Could this project lead to something more than just creating an initiative? Could it lead to a partnership that sparked a fire in both their lives? What if, she said suddenly, curious and hopeful, what if we find not just success together, but something deeper? Jack paused, the question lingering in the air like the fading light of day. A smile played on his lips, but uncertainty danced in his eyes. I guess we'll have to see, and with that, they parted ways. But the question hung between them, heavy with possibilities that could change everything. What would be waiting for them tomorrow? The sun dipped low, casting a warm glow across the parking lot as Emily climbed into her car, her mind racing. Jack's smile lingered in her thoughts, along with the weight of his shared past. She couldn't shake the sense of connection they'd forged, a bond that felt both frightening and exhilarating. As she drove home, the streets felt more vibrant, filled with a buzzing energy she hadn't sensed in a long time. The world outside her window, families walking together, couples laughing under street lamps, was alive with possibility. But as she pulled into her driveway, that feeling started to fade. She entered her cozy little house, the familiar smells hitting her like a hug. The scent of her favorite lavender candles mingled with the remnants of the day's meals. A quick glance at the clock reminded her that dinner was due soon. The twins would be up any minute, their giggles and squeals filling the space with chaos she both cherished and dreaded. "Mommy!" came the sweet, high-pitched call from their room. "Coming!" she shouted back, forcing a smile as she made her way down the hall. She opened the door to find Hannah and Ethan tangled in their blankets, their tiny faces painted with the kind of joy only kids can muster. "Look at us! We're superheroes!" Hannah exclaimed, her cape, a hastily tied towel, fluttering behind her as she spun in circles. Ethan followed suit, adorning his makeshift cape with equal fervor. Emily felt her heart swell. They were her world, her absolute everything. But the constant financial strain weighed heavily on her like a cloud blocking out the sun. She thought of the groceries they needed, the bills piling up, the daunting responsibilities ahead. After a chaotic dinner filled with splashes of spaghetti sauce and laughter, bedtime crept in, bringing relief with it. She settled the twins with stories, pretending to be engrossed in the magic of talking animals, even while her mind drifted back to Jack. What did he mean by something deeper? Later that night, when the house was finally quiet, Emily leaned back in her chair with a sigh. She fought against the creeping doubt. Her life was already a roller coaster, where she felt like she'd just gotten off one ride only to hop on another. Could she and Jack truly change lives? Could she trust in something beyond herself, something that felt promising yet terrifying? Her phone vibrated on the table, breaking her thoughts. It was a message from Jack. "Hey, just wanted to say I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Let's make it special." A warm flutter crossed her chest as she typed back, "Me too." Excited to brainstorm. Sleep eluded her that night. Instead, her mind raced with dreams about what lay ahead. Ideas rolled in like waves, hopeful visions of a project that could make a real difference in their community. They could help those who felt hopeless, just like both of them once did. The next morning, the world felt different. The sun pierced through her window, bathing her kitchen in light. As she prepared breakfast, a thought clawed at the back of her mind. What if she took a leap of faith? What if she opened her heart to something new, something with Jack? But fear echoed back, reminding her of her past failures, her struggles. What if this was just another wild dream? What if she failed? As she packed the lunches for the twins, she glanced at their innocent faces. They deserved a mother willing to try, to reach beyond her comfort zone. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. Today could be the day everything changed. When the doorbell rang, she jumped, heart racing. She glanced at the clock. Early. Why wouldn't she just let it be tomorrow? But when she opened the door, a wave of possibility crashed over her, as she stared wide-eyed at the newcomer standing on her doorstep, Jack, arms filled with bags. "Surprise! I brought breakfast," he said, a bright smile lighting up his face. Emily blinked in disbelief, the morning sun framing him perfectly. "You didn't have to, it's all part of your new adventure." He grinned, excitement brewing in his eyes, and just like that, as the smell of fresh pastries drifted into her house, Emily realized this was the push she needed. Today was the day to dive into the unknown, to embrace a potential that felt like destiny knocking. But as she invited him in, a thought pierced through her excitement. Would this adventure bring them closer, or would it uncover even deeper fears she'd need to face? Jack stepped inside, and the scent of warm pastries filled the air. Emily caught a glimpse of the bags, croissants, muffins, a giant fruit platter. Instantly, her heart lightened, the weight of her worries momentarily lifting. "You really didn't have to go through all this trouble," she said, even as her smile widened. "No trouble at all," he replied, setting the bags down on the kitchen island. "I thought we could kickstart our brainstorming with a proper breakfast feast. Inspiration often comes easiest on a full stomach, right?" Emily chuckled, a warmth spreading through her. She watched as he rummaged through the bags, pulling out colorful fruits and arranging them into an artful display. There was something so calming about the way he moved, a confidence that was infectious. "We can't neglect the twins," she reminded him, directing her attention to the hallway. "They'll be up any minute. Let them join. The more, the merrier," Jack replied with an enthusiasm that sent a thrill through Emily. Just seconds later, Hannah and Ethan bounded into the room, their faces lighting up like fireworks at the sight of Jack. "You came back," Hannah squealed, her eyes wide with delight. "Of course I did," Jack said, kneeling to their level. "I brought breakfast." "What's your favorite?" "Pancakes," shouted Ethan, bouncing on his toes. "The best pancakes in town." Jack laughed. "Well, I didn't bring those, but I did bring He waved his hands, revealing the spread on the table. The twins gasped, and suddenly the air was filled with joyful chaos as they raced toward the food. Emily stood back and took it all in. The energy in her kitchen was palpable, laughter echoing off the walls. It felt so good, but she couldn't help the tiny voice of doubt creeping back in. Was this too dreamy? Too perfect? They settled down at the table, and Emily watched as Jack interacted with her kids, seamlessly filling the role of the encouraging, silly adult. He pulled faces, made balloon animals out of napkins, and even attempted to charm them with magic tricks involving coins. The room filled with joy, and Emily felt the heaviness of her fears lessen. As they enjoyed breakfast, talk shifted to their project idea. Emily felt a spark within her as she spoke about helping people in their community. There are families struggling just like us, she explained, her voice growing passionate. I want to create a space where kids can come after school and get support, maybe tutoring, meals, something to help lift them up. Jack's eyes lit up. I love it! We could partner with local businesses, get donations. We could make a real difference, Emily. His words ignited something deep within her, and she found herself nodding vigorously. Yes. I've thought about reaching out to community centers. I've always felt that together, we could change so many lives. Just then, a sudden realization struck her like a bolt of lightning. What if she didn't have to do this alone? What if she could lean on Jack and each of his connections? The idea felt exhilarating and terrifying. The past taught her to tread carefully, yet for the first time, she sensed a glimmer of hope. But as she looked into Jack's eyes, the fear returned. What if this partnership intensified their bond to a point where it became complicated? What if her past started creeping in, pulling them apart instead of bringing them closer together? Emily, Jack said, pulling her from her thoughts. Let us make this happen together. The determination in his voice was like a lifeline, an anchor against her swirling thoughts. The twins beamed, completely unaware of the weight of the decision before their mother. Emily took a deep breath, ready to respond. But just then, the doorbell rang, breaking the moment. Who could that be? She asked, glancing towards the door, heart suddenly racing again. As she opened the door, the sight before her stunned her into silence. Standing there was someone from her past, someone she never thought she'd see again, and with them, a whole new set of challenges. Would this complicate everything? Emily blinked in disbelief, her heart pounding in her chest. The figure at the door was unmistakable. It was Sarah, a childhood friend whose absence during Emily's toughest years had stung more than she let on. Sarah wore a hesitant smile, her eyes wide with a mix of surprise and concern. Emily? Is that really you? She said, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah. I didn't expect to see you here, Emily managed, her hands subconsciously gripping the doorframe. The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken words and memories. Emily quickly glanced back at Jack and the twins, caught in their breakfast bubble, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing at the door. How long has it been? Sarah asked, stepping closer. There was an unmistakable warmth in her eyes, but the shadows of the past lingered in the air. Too long. It's been years. Emily's mind raced, recalling the days filled with laughter, then the silence that came when they drifted apart. What are you doing here? Well, I moved back to town, and I heard about your project idea. I wanted to talk, maybe help out, Sarah said, her voice growing steadier. I'm really proud of you, Em. You're doing amazing things. Emily swallowed hard. That warmth she felt towards Jack flickered at the prospect of rekindling an old friendship. Yet apprehension crept in. Would Sarah's return open old wounds? Before Emily had a chance to respond, Jack ambled over, a muffin perched in one hand and a sparkle in his eye. Hey, I'm Jack. Nice to meet you. Any tension dissipated, replaced with polite laughter. The twins wandered over, drawn by the new energy, Ethan beaming up at Sarah. Are you here to eat breakfast? We have the best fruit. As Jack engaged Sarah in conversation, Emily's heart raced. Every shared laugh sparked a thread of connection, but it felt like a tightrope walk. Was it fair to bring her past back into her present? What if Sarah wanted to dig deeper into the happier times they had shared, inadvertently reopening wounds Emily had worked hard to stitch? Do you want to join us? Jack asked Sarah, his tone inviting. Emily's stomach twisted at the prospect. She loved Jack's kindness, but every moment they spent together felt more layered now, especially with Sarah's return. I'd love to, Sarah said simply, her enthusiasm disarming. As they moved back to the kitchen, Emily felt the weight of an invisible pact forming, binding them all together. Dinner table laughter bubbled up like a fountain, the twins drawing Sarah into a world of games and playful banter. But inside, Emily wrestled with the impending reality of her history. Emily, you should tell Sarah about your idea, Jack encouraged, catching her eye. There was no hiding the relief in his gaze as he rooted for her. Taking a deep breath, Emily shared her vision for the community space. The passion in her voice grew as she spoke of hope and support, but every enthusiastic word was laced with worry. Would Sarah pitch in genuinely, or did she carry along the baggage of their shared history? That sounds incredible, truly, Sarah said, her expression serious. I'd love to help, especially with my connections at the local businesses. This time, hope flickered brighter in Emily's chest. Maybe Sarah's return was just a complication. It could be the key to opening doors she hadn't dared to imagine. But the same question loomed over her. Was she ready to let the past merge with her present, especially with a burgeoning partnership with Jack? As the weight of her past loomed and new possibilities sprouted, a realization washed over Emily. Change was coming, whether she liked it or not. And standing at the precipice, she felt an unmistakable pull to leap into the unknown. But just as she started to feel an unexpected thrill, her phone buzzed on the counter, illuminating a message that made her blood run cold, a name she couldn't ignore, with words that could unravel everything. Emily? Jack's voice broke through her panic. Is everything okay? She faced him, heart racing, knowing that by opening this door, she might also be inviting the chaos back into her life. Would she take the risk, or close herself off once more? Emily's heart raced as she stared at her phone, the message triggering memories she had tried to bury. The name lit up on the screen, David. It was the last person she wanted to hear from the man who had added chaos to her life, leaving behind shadows she thought she had pushed aside. Emily? Jack's voice filled the tense silence, pulling her back. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. It's nothing important, she managed, though the unease chipped away at her composure. Hannah and Ethan were oblivious, caught up in their spirited conversation with Sarah. Jack's eyes searched her face, concern etched in his features. Are you sure? You seem distant. His tenderness warmed her heart, but the grip of her past was suffocating. It's just an old friend I've had some trouble with. Lying felt heavy on her tongue. Do you want to talk about it? Jack leaned closer, genuinely concerned. The warmth of his presence enveloped her, and she felt the weight of his kindness. It was tempting to lay everything bare to share her fears, her hurt. But what would he think if he knew the truth? Before she could respond, Sarah broke in, her eyes sparkling. I'm really interested in this project, Emily. It sounds like a great chance to make a real difference together. Emily smiled, her heart swirling with uncertainty. She had been on the brink of a breakthrough with Jack, and now here was Sarah, reigniting old connections. Thank you, Sarah. I definitely think there's potential. I want to help kids who feel lost, the way I used to exactly. Jack encouraged, drawing everyone back into the discussion. Imagine a place where families feel supported, where kids can thrive. The vision blossomed between them like a flower, and Emily felt renewed motivation stir within her. Yet the phone still buzzed, drawing her gaze. What if David wanted to rekindle old wounds? What if he attempted to pull her back into a life she had fought so hard to escape? Why don't we set a date to brainstorm all our ideas? Jack suggested, breaking through her thoughts. I can help reach out to businesses if we work together. We can create something powerful. Definitely, Sarah added, her enthusiasm infectious. Emily's heart swelled at this rekindling of support. She glanced at the two of them smiling, and the impulse to silence her past pulled at her. She should focus on forging new connections. "Okay, let us do it," she said, embracing the moment. Just then, the phone buzzed again, like a persistent ghost demanding her attention. With shaking hands, she turned it over, reading the words. "I need to talk, Em. Meet me." Fear shot through her. She couldn't risk inviting the turmoil back into her life. She felt a raw urgency that she had to reject the past, to close the door for good. "Well, how about we aim for Friday?" Sarah's voice interrupted her tumultuous thoughts. "Set the groundwork for our plan? Friday sounds perfect." Jack agreed, practically glowing with excitement. "All right." Emily managed an enthusiastic nod, hiding her internal struggle beneath a facade of hope. But as the conversation flowed, her mind kept wandering back to David's message, the nagging worry curling tightly in her chest. Would he show up? Did he even mean to provide closure? As the trio often laughed and exchanged ideas, Emily felt herself gradually become lighter, but shadows never fully retreated. She wanted to focus on forging this new dream with Jack, building something meaningful, both for her and for her children. Finally, as Jack and Sarah pieced together the inspirations for the community center, Emily found a sense of strength building inside. She had the opportunity now to create something beautiful, not just for her children, but for everyone in their community. "Jack," she interjected, her voice steady now, "I really believe we can make this happen." He glanced at her, respect shining in his eyes. "Absolutely. I believe in you, Emily." Feeling a swell of gratitude, she knew that whatever came next with David, she had support. Her past didn't define her, it shaped her into the woman she was today, a mother, a friend, a fighter. And with this newfound conviction, she shot back a response to David, the words emerging steadily. "I want to be meeting David. I'm moving forward." A sense of calm washed over her as she took her seat at the table with Jack and Sarah together. They created a web of ideas that carried hope into the room. When they raised their glasses of juice in a simple cheer, it felt like the beginning of something extraordinary, a family forged in friendship, community, and dreams crystallizing into reality. In that instant, she allowed herself to entertain the hope that emerged, a dream that held weight, warmth, and possibilities, breaking like dawn over the shadows of her past. "Let us do this," she exclaimed with a radiant smile, unaware that the most beautiful chapters were still waiting to be written. So here's the thing, you need to subscribe now so you won't miss the next episode in this journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. Comment your thoughts and feelings about the resolution, because your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need inspiration in their lives. Let us uplift each other.